Did you know that Ferrari has just lost the two brains that led their motor project by 2026, just 3 months after the development closed? This is not simple technical news. It is the type of movements that change the story of a team. Today we tell you why this blow can be devastating for Ferrari. The news exploded as a bomb in Maranello. Wolf Zimmermann and Lars Schmidt, the two maximums responsible for the development of the new engine, leave the team. And they don't do it discreetly. They leave for the most emerging rival project of the grille, one that is also led by an old Ferrari acquaintance. Mattia Binotto, the same man who had signed them for the Scuderia more than a decade ago. Zimmermann was not just any technician. It was the backbone of motor engineering in Ferrari since 2014, the year in which Binotto, then technical head, recruited it from Mercedes to lead hybrid development in Maranello. His technical legacy is enormous. He designed the 2015 Turbo Hill engine, led the evolution that led Ferrari to challenge Mercedes in 2017 and 2018, and was the architect of the famous superfast engine, a power unit that became considered a masterpiece of thermal efficiency before its controversial penalty in 2019. Since 2023, Zimmermann was completely focused on leading the motor project by 2026. A unit that had to adapt to new technical rules that require a higher percentage of electricity, sustainable synthetic fuels, and unprecedented energy efficiency. Ferrari had opted everything to his vision. He wasn't just an engineer. He was the man in which all the faith of the rampant Cavallino rested to dominate the F1 in the new era. Next to him was Lars Schmidt, less media but equally fundamental. Schmidt directed the development of the internal combustion system, an area that remains vital despite the increase in electric roll. Combustion continues to contribute more than 50% of the total power in 2026, and its optimization is critical to reduce consumption and improve reliability. Schmidt was the engineer who converted Zimmermann's ideas into technical solutions applicable to the testing bank. That both have decided to leave together is not a simple coincidence. It is a clear indication that your departure is not improvised. It is a strategic decision, thought, probably cultivated for months. And the most disturbing thing for Ferrari is that they have chosen to go to Audi, a team that has not yet debuted but is already marking territory as a weight actor for the new technical cycle of the F1. And they do it under Binotto's umbrella, someone who knows every corner of Maranello's internal functioning and who, obviously, has managed to convince his former collaborators that the commitment to Audi is more attractive, more solid, or at least more promising. This is the central drama. Ferrari not only loses two technical brains at a critical moment, it also loses its ability to lead the transition towards 2026 with a consolidated vision. It loses the continuity of a project that should already be in its final phase of evidence. And what is even worse, he gives to a direct rival the most valuable internal knowledge about his new engine. In a sport where the tenths of the second can cost millions of euros and hold championships, the escape of information, the loss of leadership, and internal destabilization are more dangerous than any track problem. This is not the type of loss that can be replaced with rapid hiring or structure adjustment. It is an emotional, technical, and strategic blow. And Ferrari has received it in the worst possible time. This new regulation is not a simple evolution of the current hybrid era. It is a break. From 2026, the cars will continue to use the V6 turbo engine, yes, but with a fundamental turn. Electricity will drastically increase to 50% of the total power. This implies a monumental load for the MGUK system, which will not only have to recover more energy than ever, but also display it continuously and efficiently in combination with the thermal propeller. And here comes the first problem. The new Ferrari engine, even in the bank testing phase, is not ready. And this is not a rumor. Sources close to Maranello confirm that the design of the Power Unit 2026 has not yet completed its comprehensive technical validation, and that reliability tests have generated more questions than answers. All this occurs when the FIA schedule is inflexible. In less than 3 months, the engine must be approved. Without Zimmermann, Ferrari loses the strategist that integrated all the subsystems of this technological puzzle. It was he who defined how the turbocharger, the MGUH, which disappears in 2026, the new reinforced MGUK, and the high-density battery would interact. Its absence creates a right technical vacuum at the most delicate point. Integration between software and hardware, between electric and thermal. There is no time to improvise. But the most delicate is still in the field of internal combustion. This is where Lars Schmidt's departure hits stronger. Ferrari had advanced in an engine concept with internal pressures never seen before, using a new type of mixture that adapts to the synthetic fuel approved by 2026. But this fuel, more volatile and less energetically dense, forces to completely redesign the cylinder heads, the injectors, the combustion chambers, and the thermal flow of the exhaust. Schmidt was directly responsible for that architecture. Its domain over gas dynamics, on thermal management in critical engine areas, is not replaced with an emergency hiring. In addition, internal reports indicate that current butts have microfissures problems due to thermal fatigue. Temperatures in the new design exceed more than 100 degrees Celsius those of the previous generation, and this is causing extreme challenges to maintain the structural integrity of the motor block. Without the presence of Schmidt, Ferrari is left without his thermal design expert just when he needs to redesign materials, adjust tolerances, and reconfigure the compression-temperature relationship in a matter of weeks. And there is another factor that complicates everything even more. The 2026 power units will be limited to maximum energy consumption. This means that each gram of fuel must be used to the fullest. And that efficiency no longer depends only on how much thrust the engine has, but on how it delivers it, in what regime of revolutions, and in which thermal window operates. Ferrari had opted for a high-performance peak strategy, but that increases the risk of overheating. And now, with the leaders of the project outside the team, correcting the course will be like rebuilding a spacecraft in full flight. In modern Formula One, developing an engine is not a linear task. It is an engineering symphony where each component depends on the other. And when the main composer is lost, the orchestra can continue to play, but without direction. Ferrari at this moment is uncoordinated. He has talented musicians, but he has lost those who knew how to direct the rhythm, balance, and harmony between systems. To understand it, you must first observe the internal context. For months, rumors within Maranello pointed out some structural instability in the engines department. What seemed to be a solid program led by Zimmermann and Schmidt began to show silent cracks. Tests that were not completed in time, inconsistent data, reliability failures under extreme thermal load, and disagreements about the technical philosophy to follow. Some wanted to go to a more conservative architecture to ensure reliability. Others bet on an aggressive solution that would maximize the risk of penalty for reliability. The tensions were real. To this is added the growing weight of the internal bureaucracy. Under the management of Frédéric Vasseur, Ferrari has tried to centralize key decisions, seeking efficiency. But that has generated a clash with the departments that had traditionally operated with greater autonomy, as is the case of the engines area. Zimmermann, recognized by his creative and independent engineer profile, would not have fully fit this new, more verticalized hierarchical structure. Sources close to Paddock suggest that it felt limited, especially when their redesign suggestions were not implemented in time or were cut for budget reasons. And then there is the figure of Mattia Binotto, a divisive figure inside and outside Ferrari, but absolutely crucial to understand this story. Binotto was not only Zimmermann's direct mentor during his years as a technical director, but he was the one who gave him the power to lead the engine restructuring in the hybrid era. Now, at the head of the ambitious Audi F1 project, Binotto has a total freedom to build a team from scratch, with abundant resources and without the pressures of immediate results that overwhelm Ferrari every season. In that environment, Zimmermann not only finds confidence and technical support, but also the possibility of developing his vision without interference. And Lars Schmidt? Do not underestimate it. Although he was always in a more discreet role, his work was essential to solve the thermal problems of the post-2020 Ferrari engine, and it was he who proposed a new valve configuration to reduce efficiency losses in high loads. In recent months, it had become more than a technical subaltern. It was the real interpreter between Zimmermann's theory and the testing in the testing bench. His decision to leave with him only confirms that it was not a flight, but a structured and planned transfer towards a new project with another work philosophy. So when asked why they leave and why now, the answer is double. They leave because Ferrari no longer represents the technical future they want to build. And they leave now because if they wait another month, there is no time to join the new Audi development cycle. It was this or losing the train of the most important change of modern F1. The true impact of the departure of Zimmermann and Schmidt will not be limited to the 2026 engine. The consequences of this double resignation will be extended as shock waves throughout the Ferrari structure, from the engineering team to the sports direction, through the external perception of the project. Because in Formula One, when two figures of this caliber leave the ship in full construction, not only knowledge is lost, credibility is lost, and that can be more lethal than a technical error. And now the question, do you think Ferrari can be rebuilt in time by 2026? Or are we witnessing the beginning of another disappointment that will lengthen for years? What do you think of the Audi project and its aggressive signing strategy? Are we facing the birth of a new real contender? Or simply before another technical hype that will crash on the track? Leave your opinion in the comments.